Hello there gamers, welcome back to Gaming in the PF Years. For today's episode we will be looking at a game called Dadish. It is an indie platformer game and it is available from storefronts on Xbox One, PlayStation, Switch and Steam. Today I'm going to be playing it for absolutely free online on a website called Poki, which means there's no point actually paying money for it. Nice marketing strategy. First off, here are some good things about the game. The control style is fairly simple. You just move, jump and double jump. But the game really isn't as simple as that. It's a challenging title. Some of the level designs are pretty great, making you have to traverse all types of obstacles in certain ways in order to reach the end of each course and find your children. Yeah, in this game, you control a Dadish who is trying to find his missing children who have been scattered throughout 5 different worlds. And when you complete each level, the dialogue between you and your kids can be pretty entertaining at times. There's also a collectible star in the midst of each level, having you go down a different path than normal and adding a bit of replayability. The game is simple and challenging, but there isn't really much to make it stand out. Everything around the core gameplay is plain and boring, like a glass of room temperature water that's been left on the table for an hour. The graphics, while okay, replicate the same old cookie-cutter retro 80s game feeling that a million other indie games have done already, and the music, while also not being that bad, gets really monotonous since every single time you die in the level the music loops itself back to the start of the track like a broken record player. The level design is a mixed bag as well. Some of the platforming in certain levels has a natural flow to it as you double jump around with precise timing, and some obstacles feel rightly placed to present a challenge in some situations. But then there's those scenarios where the game expects you to do or react to anything it shits out at you at any given moment. Take for example World 2 Level 16, where cannons are introduced, and the game expects perfect reactions to these things when their projectiles move pretty fast. And this wouldn't be a problem, but just you try jumping into a trampoline in one row of any area here without getting smacked in the head with a fireball. It also doesn't help that later in the level the game bombards you with even more shit to avoid to keep you on your teeny-weeny fractured toes if the cannons weren't enough fun for you. It switches to ass over tea kettle when you reach the boss of that world, the geniusly named Hot Dog, who is actually a giant pizza, but who cares, this boss sucks big balls. He jumps around while you try to kill him with buttons that fire projectiles into his face, but the problem here is that you simply cannot predict where this pizza guy will land, so there's almost no way to avoid his single attack of smacking you onto the floor. This single level made me quit the entire game since I figured there was no point continuing. Maybe I'm just bad at the game, or maybe this game demands perfection from you in the worst ways possible. Overall, this game, while simple and challenging, sometimes has unrealistic expectations and demands from the player. The presentation is also pretty lackluster with generic graphics and repetitive music. Despite all this, I would happily recommend it to people looking for a short and basic yet difficult platformer to test their reflexes and timing, but I personally dislike it. Again, maybe I'm just not doing enough stuff right and there's some super secret strategy as to what this game throws at you, but I wouldn't really like to be interested in finding it out. Some of you out there might like it, but I think this game deserves the unfunny. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if there's any other game you'd like me to review.